Today, we're diving deep into a crisis unfolding in one of America's most iconic cities, Los Angeles. The City of Angels, a beacon of glamour and opportunity, is facing an unprecedented financial meltdown, leading to thousands of employee layoffs and a skyrocketing homeless population. How did it come to this? How did a city with a GDP exceeding $700 billion, a global economic powerhouse, find itself on the brink of bankruptcy, forced to shed its workforce at an alarming rate? Just how broke is Los Angeles, and what does this mean for its residents? Stay with us as we uncover the shocking statistics and human stories behind a city on the brink. The cracks in the golden facade, a decade of warning signs. Los Angeles' current financial woes didn't appear overnight. For years, financial experts and city watchdogs have been sounding the alarm, pointing to a confluence of unsustainable spending, escalating pension obligations, and an over-reliance on volatile revenue streams. While the city's real estate market boomed and tourism flourished, underlying structural issues were slowly eroding its financial stability. One of the most significant contributors to the city's ballooning expenses has been its pension liabilities. Los Angeles, like many other major U.S. cities, operates on a defined benefit pension system, promising employees a set income in retirement. For decades, these promises were made without adequate funding, leading to a massive unfunded liability. By 2010, the city's unfunded pension liability was estimated at over $15 billion. Fast forward to today, and that number has significantly increased, with some estimates placing it closer to $30 billion. This means that for every dollar the city earns, a substantial portion is earmarked not for current services or investments, but to cover past promises to retired employees. This creates an immense strain on the annual budget, limiting the city's flexibility to respond to economic downturns or invest in critical infrastructure. Beyond pensions, the city's operating costs have steadily climbed. A large municipal workforce, coupled with generous salaries and benefits negotiated over decades, contributes to a high fixed cost structure. While these benefits are crucial for attracting and retaining talent, the scale at which they have grown has outpaced the city's revenue growth. For instance, a report from the city administrative officer revealed that employee compensation and benefits account for over 60% of the city's general fund expenditures. This leaves little room for maneuver when revenues shrink. Another critical factor has been Los Angeles' revenue diversification. The city has historically relied heavily on certain key revenue streams, particularly property taxes, sales taxes, and business taxes. While robust during economic booms, these sources are highly susceptible to economic downturns. A significant portion of the city's sales tax revenue, for example, comes from tourism and retail, sectors that were heavily impacted by recent global events. A sudden dip in these areas can and has created a ripple effect across the entire city budget. Furthermore, a culture of deficit spending has, at times, characterized the city's financial management. Rather than consistently building robust reserve funds during prosperous times, there has been a tendency to allocate available funds to immediate needs or new initiatives, leaving the city vulnerable when the inevitable economic shifts occur. A study conducted by a local think tank indicated that Los Angeles' reserve fund, as a percentage of its general fund, has historically lagged behind other major U.S. cities, often hovering around 8 to 10% compared to a recommended 15 to 20%. This lack of substantial rainy day fund meant that when the storm hit, the city was ill-prepared. The city's financial reports from the past decade paint a clear picture of these accumulating pressures. While gross revenues generally increased year over year, the rate of expenditure growth often outpaced it, especially when factoring the accelerating pension and healthcare obligations. This created a widening gap between what the city was spending and what it was truly able to afford on a sustainable basis. The golden facade of Los Angeles was indeed starting to show cracks, visible to those who looked beyond the glitz and glamour, long before the recent crisis brought them to the forefront. The perfect storm, when crisis hits an unprepared city. The underlying financial vulnerabilities of Los Angeles, though present for years, were exacerbated by a series of external shocks that collectively created a perfect storm. These events pushed the city from a state of chronic financial strain into an acute crisis, necessitating drastic measures like mass employee layoffs. The most significant and immediate trigger was the COVID-19 pandemic. When the world shut down in early 2020, Los Angeles, a global hub for tourism, entertainment, and international trade, was hit particularly hard. The tourism industry, a major contributor to sales and hotel tax revenues, ground to a halt. Hotels emptied, restaurants closed, and iconic attractions went dark. The Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board reported a more than 70% drop in international visitors in 2020, with domestic tourism also plummeting. This directly translated into a massive decline in sales tax revenue, which is a critical component of the city's general fund. Simultaneously, the entertainment industry, a cornerstone of the local economy, faced unprecedented disruption. Film and television productions were halted, live events were canceled, and theme parks closed their doors. While some segment eventually adapted, the immediate impact was a significant reduction in business tax revenues and ancillary spending that supports countless local businesses. The economic ripple effect was profound, leading to job losses across various sectors, which in turn reduced income tax revenues. For the city, a portion of sales and property taxes are indirectly linked to employment levels and overall consumer spending. Beyond the pandemic, shifts in consumer behavior and economic trends also played a role. The rise of e-commerce, while offering convenience, has steadily eroded the tax base of traditional brick-and-mortar retail, impacting sales tax collections. While California has implemented measures to collect sales tax from online retailers, the shift still presents challenges for local jurisdictions heavily reliant on physical retail activity. Furthermore, Los Angeles has been grappling with an escalating housing and homelessness crisis. While not a direct cause of the city's financial bankruptcy in the same way as revenue shortfalls, the immense resources dedicated to addressing these issues have added significant pressure to the budget. Funding for housing initiatives, homeless services, and mental health programs, while critically necessary, divert funds from other areas and represent substantial, ongoing expenses. The city has allocated hundreds of millions to these efforts annually, a testament to the scale of the problem, but also a constant draw on its financial reserves. The timing of these crises was particularly devastating because the city's reserve funds were insufficient to absorb such a massive and prolonged revenue shock. As previously mentioned, the city had not consistently built up the robust reserves that would have provided a cushion during an economic downturn of this magnitude. This lack of financial preparedness meant that when the pandemic hit, the city quickly depleted its limited reserves and was forced to look for immediate and substantial cost-cutting measures. The compounding effect of these factors created a scenario where the city's projected revenues fell far short of its fixed expenditures and rising service demands. The gap became too wide to bridge through minor adjustments, necessitating more drastic actions. This perfect storm not only exposed the underlying financial fragilities of Los Angeles, but also accelerated the timeline for difficult decisions, ultimately leading to the painful process of laying off thousands of city employees. The unthinkable, thousands laid off. The decision to lay off thousands of city employees was not made lightly. It was a last resort, a desperate measure taken after various other attempts to balance the budget proved insufficient. The sheer scale of these layoffs sent shockwaves through the city and highlighted the depth of the financial crisis. The initial round of layoffs primarily targeted part-time and seasonal workers, as well as positions that were already vacant or deemed non-essential. However, as the financial situation deteriorated further, the cuts began to impact full-time, permanent employees across various departments. Reports from the city administrative officer indicated that the number of potential layoffs escalated from a few hundred to several thousand within a span of months. By the height of the crisis, reports emerged detailing that over 2,000 city employees had either been laid off, furloughed, or had their positions eliminated. These numbers included a wide range of municipal workers. Department of Recreation and Parks. This department, heavily reliant on fees from public programs and facilities, saw significant cuts as parks and recreational activities were scaled back or shut down. Hundreds of part-time recreational leaders, facility managers, and support staff were affected. Public Works. Essential services like street maintenance, sanitation, and infrastructure projects also faced reductions. While frontline sanitation workers were largely protected due to the critical nature of their work, administrative staff, engineers, and support personnel saw their ranks thinned. City planning and development. With construction projects slowing down and permit applications decreasing, departments involved in urban planning and development also experienced staffing reductions. The impact of these layoffs extends far beyond the individuals who lost their jobs. Each layoff represents a loss of income for a household, potentially leading to financial hardship, increased unemployment claims, and a reduced tax base of the city. Furthermore, the departure of experienced personnel can lead to a loss of institutional knowledge and a decline in the quality and efficiency of city services. For instance, fewer park staff mean less maintenance, impacting public spaces. Fewer planning staff can slow down essential development processes. The morale within the remaining city workforce also took a significant hit. The uncertainty, the fear of future cuts, and the increased workload on those who remain created a stressful working environment. Unions representing city employees actively protested the layoffs, arguing for alternative solutions, such as drawing more from reserve funds or seeking additional state and federal aid. They highlighted the human cost of these decisions and potential long-term damage to the city's ability to deliver essential services. The decision to lay off thousands of employees was a stark admission of the city's dire financial straits. It marked a turning point, signaling that the traditional methods of budget balancing were no longer sufficient. The magnitude of these cuts underscored the severity of the crisis and the profound challenges Los Angeles faced in navigating its path back to financial stability. What led to this? A deeper dive into mismanagement and policy failures. While external shocks like the pandemic undeniably triggered the immediate crisis, a closer examination reveals that years of internal factors, including policy failures, fiscal mismanagement, and an inability to adapt to changing economic realities, laid the groundwork for Los Angeles' current financial predicament, unsustainable labor agreements, and pension burdens. One of the most significant long-term issues has been the city's labor agreements and the escalating costs of employee compensation and benefits, particularly pensions and retiree health care. For decades, city leadership, in negotiations with powerful employee unions, agreed to generous benefit packages while consistently ensuring adequate funding mechanisms. This created a massive unfunded liability that grew year after year. As mentioned earlier, the city's unfunded pension liability has reached staggering figures, estimated to be in the tens of billions of dollars. This means that a substantial portion of the city's annual budget is dedicated not to current services, but to covering past promises to retirees. Each year, the city is legally obligated to make a large payment to its pension systems, which often increases at a rate faster than general fund revenues. This crowds out other essential spending, leaving less money for public services, infrastructure, and innovation. Furthermore, the structure of these defined benefit plans, while providing security for retirees, places the investment risk squarely on the city. When investment returns fall short of projections, the city is required to make up the difference, adding further pressure to the budget. The lack of a transition to more sustainable, perhaps hybrid or defined contribution, plans earlier on has locked the city into a financially precarious position. Conclusion: a wake-up call for urban America. The unprecedented financial crisis in Los Angeles, culminating in the firing of thousands of city employees, serves as a profound wake-up call not just for the City of Angels, but for urban America as a whole. It's a stark reminder that even the most economically powerful and iconic cities are not immune to fiscal vulnerability when long-term liabilities, unsustainable spending habits, and over-reliance on volatile revenue streams go unchecked. The story of Los Angeles going broke is a complex tapestry woven from decades of generous pension promises, a lack of aggressive reserve building, an undiversified tax base, and ultimately, the devastating impact of unforeseen global events like the COVID-19 pandemic. The statistics are alarming. A double-digit percentage decline in general fund revenue, a multi-billion-dollar unfunded pension liability, and thousands of individuals suddenly without a job, underscoring the human cost of fiscal mismanagement. The ripple effects of these layoffs are already palpable, from the potential degradation of public services, impacting everything from park maintenance to permitting processes, to a contraction in local consumer spending and a blow to civic morale. This isn't merely an accounting problem. It's a societal challenge that touches every resident and business within the city's limits.